we go, that's all our green ones installed. Now we're on to the blue ones. It's a shame that they didn't do yellow ones, because that would have been the ideal VU or traditional VU meter colours. But it is what it is. So now we can fill up the rest of these. So now, according to these instructions, we have to install the 6-pin row needle. So these mount onto the back of this. It's that connects the main controller PCB through to this display PCB. So as you can see, those three will mate onto those, and then these two mate on below here. Now, if you were just to solder these in, there is a chance, although these are fairly snug in there, but you could get them slightly misaligned, which would make connecting the two boards together and disconnecting them a bit of a bind. So what I've found is a very helpful hint is to just install the pins into the sockets, the sockets that they mate into. So they're obviously perfectly mated into there. Then we just jiggle about and get them fit into the other board. Now it can take a bit of fiddling around, because quite often there's just enough of a tolerance in these connectors to make things a little bit tight. But eventually you get it all the way in. And once it's in like this, it's not that difficult to solder up, and you know that they're going to be perfectly aligned because they're being held together in their intended position. What you will find though, that this will require a little bit extra heat just to make these joints, because the pins being in their sockets now just make things a little bit more of a heat sink. That one just wanted to spring back out, so I just had to reflow that. So again, we're just putting the one pin soldered in first, and once we're happy with that, we can come back and do more. I'm just going to do one more on each connector and then separate these two. So now we can separate these two, and this will stay a bit more stable while we solder up the rest. And that is that. So let's zoom you out. And we can put these two together and try it out for the first time. Power lead. We can adjust our sensitivity. I don't have a screwdriver just with me, so let's just try that. 1, 2. No, that's obviously less sensitive, so one, two, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's a bit more responsive, and especially if I turn it over more this way so the microphone's picking up a bit more direct. There we go. 1, 2. And it's still much more sensitive to sort of handling noise, but it seems to be working okay. It seems to be responding in time with my voice. So now I'm going to model up a case for this, and I'll put a link in the description below to that, and in the next scene you'll see this in its case, hopefully, or at least me fitting it into the case. And here we go. After a lot of measuring and some 3D modeling and a little bit of 3D printing, I've managed to get this completed. As you can see, it's still fairly fresh off the printer, not much cleanup done, a few wispy hairs. So the very bottom of this is quite thin. It's only, I think, 3 layers thick. It's about 0.7 millimeters thick, and this is just white PETG. And so the idea is that the LEDs will be able to shine or illuminate through or be seen through this. As you can see, I had a little bit of lifting. This is not straight. I get a ruler. You can see we're lifting at both sides, mostly on this left-hand side. But fortunately, it stayed stuck to the build plate enough for it to finish. And then I printed this cap. I've got a little adjustment hole. That's for this potentiometer. And then, of course, a bit of a grill for the microphone to be able to receive the audio through. And then, of course, we've got our 2 holes on the side, one for the headphone socket, if you want to use that, or the power socket over here. And there are no screws or fixings for this. It is just a interference or press fit. So it's been designed that way, so it just fits in. You may be able to see that this side is slightly bowed up. We have to sort of a little bit forcefully press that down. Press these bits down. As you can see, this headphone socket then fits into that hole, and the power socket is also lined up for this one. And again, this is just a press fit lid. I needed to make it slightly bigger. It doesn't hold in with a great amount of force, but probably a little bit of blue tack or something will solve that issue. As you can see, we can adjust the sensitivity, and the microphone is, well, just slightly off center. But we probably can bend the microphone over a little bit to make absolutely no difference at all. So what does it look like? Got a battery bank, and there it is. Obviously, because I'm facing this, it's not getting very good audio, but if I just scratch the case, you can see that. And if I turn the lights down, and that works quite well. So the link to the Thingiverse page for this case will be in the description below, along with, of course, the link to where I bought this kit from. That's another project completed. Thank you very much for sticking with it and seeing this through with me, and we'll see you on the next one.